Hey guys, Mr. Salazar here. Today what we're going to do is we're going to tie a twitching jig. I'm going to show you one of my favorite patterns to tie, and it catches fish. Most of my twitching jigs are going to be on 3/8 ounce or ½ ounce. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're back on the vise. Once again, I am using the Veevus GO2 100 denier in white. They make this specific string in white or black. So if you use white, try to have some Sharpies handy so you can get rid of the collar later on at the end. So what I have here is a ½ ounce jig on a 4/0 Gamakatsu a 90-degree Big River jig hook. And what we're going to use today is we're going to use this crosscut two-tone rabbit fur. It is blue and purple tips. And then we're going to use for our tail this Magnum rabbit strip, just straight purple. So we'll get started with our... First we got to start by getting our line on the jig itself. So once again, take your tag end, start up at the head as far up as you can, and start at the head itself. Do a couple wraps at the head, then start working back a little bit. And then once you have your tag end wrapped around, go ahead and cut it off. So now what I'm doing is just building a bed, and I like to go back a decent ways. So almost to the hook point itself. Okay, once I'm where I want to be, I just leave the thread to hang. And since we're doing purple for our tail, I'm going to take a strip of this Magnum cut. And typically if you see a Magnum cut in the store, it is going to be straight cut. So the difference between straight cut and cross cut is how the fur lays. So straight cut, the fur lays in line with the hide, and cross cut, the fur is perpendicular to the hide. So what I'm going to do here real quick before I tie this on is I'm going to measure out how far out I want my tail to go. So typically I like to go 3/4 of an inch to an inch past the end of the shank here. And then what I'll do is I'll just cut that straight across if I can. And I try to stay pretty close to the hide without taking off too much of the extra material. So that way I can use as much of this material as possible before I have to buy more. So now I have my strip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around the shank. And this is going to help when I do my loops to center it. So I'm going to take my thread, do a loose loop, just one loop, and then I'm going to reposition this if I need to. Same thing as when I tied the steelhead jigs. I like to have it as center as possible. It's just a preference thing. So just a loop around, reposition. And once I have it how I want it, go ahead and tighten that down. And I'm going to try to get this as flat as possible as I'm tightening it down. Okay, there is your tail. Your tail is attached. You're halfway done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our piece of crosscut, so I'm going to take our piece of crosscut, and you'll see the reason it's crosscut is because the hide right now is horizontal, and then the fur is vertical. That's how you can tell the difference between crosscut and straight cut. So straight cut, the fur is in line with the hide, and cross cut, the fur is perpendicular to the hide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my end here, and I'm going to angle it forward towards the head, just slightly. Then I'm going to put a wrap or two around this. And then once I have it where I want it, I'm just going to cinch it down and then take my thread all the way to the head. All the way to the head. Now we're going to leave that hanging there. Now what you're going to do is you're going to want to start twisting this up the shank, coming back. You can do it as tight or as loose as you want to. It will naturally want to cone up because of how the fur is laying. And you just take this all the way to the head. All the way. And now that we're at the head, just like on the steel jig, go around the top side of this 2 to 3 times, then go underneath 2 to 3 times, and then that is secure. And then you just cut this as close to the head as you can. Now our jig has taken its shape. All we have to do is the collar, half hitches, and it's done. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a piece from the feather, or from the fur, that when I cut it, came up. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my thread to make that part of the collar. And to me, because I'm somewhat of a perfectionist when I'm doing this, even though it's a hobby and it's for fun, is I try to make sure that all of that hide that was just exposed is covered. So as you can see, we have our tail, we have our body, two-tone body, tail matches, and then we have our head. Now all I'm going to do is whip finishes. I like to go 3 to 5 times on the whip finish before I secure it down. And then I always do it a second time, just to be sure. Cut that off as close as you can. And boom. There you go, finished twitching jig. I don't care for twitching jigs to color up the collar. I haven't really noticed that it affects the fishing that much. I still catch fish, maybe not as much as some of those other guys who color up the collar, but for video purposes, I will color up the collar today. I'm going to take a dark blue Sharpie and hopefully pull all these fibers back. Hopefully it is the same color as the jig head. Pretty close. Looks more of a purple color, but that's okay. Try to pull all your fibers back if you can. Otherwise you'll catch some of those fibers and it will start dyeing the blue of the two-tone, the color that you just colored it with the Sharpie. So there you go. That is the finished twitching jig. These colors are simple but effective. I've caught plenty of fish on these colors. I know guys who have used these colors and they swear by them. It's the only colors they tie during the season. Like I said, simple but effective. In the next video, we'll make one a little more advanced with a little more flash in it. Maybe throw a marabou feather on there just to spice it up a little bit. But that's the jig. I'll just throw it in the box and have it ready for next season. Alright, there you have it, guys. And like I told you, those colors are simple but effective. And that is the most basic way you can tie a twitching jig. And I know people who tie twitching jigs all the way down to 1/4 of an ounce, and they use those and catch fish. So it really just depends on the body of water and how big of water you're fishing. Most of the rivers I fish, if I can't get them with 3/8 ounce and 1/2 ounce, probably not going to be fishing it. But there you go. That's how you tie a twitching jig. And if you like it, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below, and I will read those and respond to them. Thank you, and have a good day.